Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Find me everywhere online at Jester Dooms. And don't forget to check out the website, jestersvoice.com. So it's been quite a while since we did a show, and I actually had to go back and listen to the last episode to kind of get a sense of where we left off and to get an overall feel from the show, because I've been on a very long hiatus, and that's what we're going to get into in today's episode. Now, ironically enough, the last show that I did, my in-laws were in town, and here we are coming back, and now the in-laws are in town again. So just the ability in me finding the time to be able to sit down and record was kind of wild, right? So anyway, long and the short of it is, where have I been? Well, a series of unforeseen events transpired in my life, sending my life spiraling out of control into just utter chaos. Okay? I'm the type of person that likes to have some regiment in my daily life. I like things to be planned. I like things to be organized. I like things to just I want to know what's going on. I can deal with chaos if it's organized chaos, if that makes sense. So with what I do for work, you guys know that if you ever heard me talk about my job, you know that my job is chaos, right? So I do not like to have a lot of chaos when I come home. I don't want that to deal with. So in the middle of January, life started going to shit. I got royally fucked up the ass by my employer. And then I got a phone call from a government entity outside of the state I live in that basically said, hey, we need you to take care of a couple people. So I had to move in some family members, and now I have 2 extra people in my house, and it's made life very chaotic. So I now have 6 people. There's now 6 of us living in a tiny cabin in the middle of the woods. Okay, we're all on top of each other. It's very chaotic. There's not enough space for everybody. Everybody's kind of at each other's throats all the time. It's pretty chaotic, pretty bad, right? And this was going on for a while. Now, the relatives that have moved in are of, school age. So, there was the idea of, getting them with doctors and getting doctor's appointments knocked out and getting them enrolled in school and daycare and like all of these things, right? All this extra responsibility that we didn't have previously. So this has sucked up a lot of my time. And then trying to appease my employer in the process of all this was also problematic. And it wasn't until the end of April where things kind of started to normalize. And I started getting some of my free time back. And with this came, me not realizing how much I've neglected in my, in my daily existence. I was neglecting a lot of things around the homestead, a lot of things on the property. And it was like, oh, look, you have free time to do things. There's all of these things you have to do that you've been neglecting for years because of work. So now I find myself in this weird predicament of trying to earn a little bit of an income with now seeing through open eyes how much has been neglected on the property and, getting a full sense of the amount of work that still needs to be done. along with trying to find some sort of roads to go down for self-employment to make my overall well-being happier. Like, I want to be happier with the work I'm doing. I don't want to have to worry about, is my job going to be there tomorrow? I don't want to have to worry about these things. So I've been going back and forth, ping-ponging around, trying to figure out essentially what it is I want to do. And I had a friend come to me months ago, and he said, what is your dream? Like, what is that dream thing you'd want to do? And I said, dude, I really don't have one. And he says, come on, man, everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got something that they want to do. And I said, I get what you're saying. I said, but I don't really have anything that I really want to do. But after putting some more thought into it and really coming down and thinking like what would ultimately make me happy, there is something. And it's something that is a pipe dream. It's something that is just probably not going to happen. And that pipe dream is, I've always wanted to have a horror park, okay? Like the haunted hay rides and the carnival rides and the walk-through haunts and, you know, the haunted houses and the games and the kettle corn and the corn dogs and the cotton candy. Like, my family was very heavily involved for Halloween. I worked as a scare actor. I've ran security ops at Halloween parks. Like, I would love to have a Halloween park. And I was actually talking with somebody that was a follower. Now we're friends and we try to communicate about once a week, get on the phone, check in with each other, stuff like that. And he gets it because he's also like involved in that realm, in that world. And it's like, yeah, that would be great. But it's a pipe dream. I mean, the money, the property, just to get it all up and running, you need a lot of capital to work with, which I do not have. So again, it is a pipe dream, but that would be a dream. Don't mind me just taking a sip of my delicious coffee. So with all of these crazy things that have been going on, and the extra people I'm now taking care of in my house, this kind of throws a big wrench in the gears of being able to record the podcast, sit down, do the shows, read through the content and everything else. Part of the problem with this also, and the reason why we took such a long hiatus, is I was trying to juggle full-time work and taking care of 2 extra people. So it really wasn't in the cards every day to produce the Doom Daily Show. With this, the It's Doomsday podcast has also been put on hold due to other different varying factors as well, like trying to find another co-host for the show, because that is just it's kind of a mess to try to do that show on my own, okay? And it's almost like you need a person to be there to record with you once a week in person. It's difficult to do that show with somebody that's far away. And I'm not talking negatively about any of the hosts that I've had in the past, but we do need to kind of hone in on, like, I need to hone in on somebody that could be there in person to do these recordings. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are way past the break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Can't get enough of Jester Dooms? Check out his other show, It's Doomsday Podcast, available on all podcast platforms. That's It's Doomsday Podcast.
Back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Drop us a line. Find us everywhere on social media. There's a Facebook. There's a TikTok. There's a Snapchat. There's a Clapper. There's everything. At Jester Dooms. You'll find me. I promise. So, I am currently sitting at an eye surgery center. Okay, my father came to me and he said, Dooms, look, dude, I got eye surgery coming up. I can't drive myself. Can you do it? He had this pre-planned for a while, so I said, sure. And it's going to be a couple hours in the surgery, so I said to myself, well, this would be a great time for me to crank out an episode and restart the show because I am alone for once. I am by myself. It is quiet. There's no one around to bother me. This is fantastic. And I record this show in my vehicle anyway. So we're sitting here in the freaking Subaru WRX STI, sitting at the eye surgery center. I'm in a parking lot, parked under a tree. It's nice. It's shaded. I've got my morning coffee with me. It's just after 8 o'clock in the morning. I've got my nice Lavazza coffee. My honey dealer just hooked me up with some honey, so I got my fresh mountain honey in my coffee along with some goat's milk, and it is just delicious. This is how I love my coffee. So I'm going to be here for a few hours, I assume, while my father gets his procedure done. He's having one of the cataracts done in his eyes. I don't know much about this procedure or how it all operates. I know if you guys ever listen to me talk about my in-laws, my mother-in-law is blind as a bat and needs this procedure done. And she just has irrational fears, and I think she thinks that she's going to die if she goes in there and gets the surgery done. So we've been beating this horse for the last 10 years that she needs to get her eyes fixed, and she just refuses. So she's been blind for the last decade. She's probably going to die blind. Probably at this point has no idea what her grandkids look like, but whatever. You know, that's your own personal choice to not have that procedure done. So, moving forward, I also have a job interview today, this afternoon, after this surgery is completed. So I'm going to have a lovely day with the old man. I forgot his birthday this year, so I'm going to take him out to lunch for his birthday. Because, you know, I'm an awesome son and all. We're here at the surgery center now. We're going to knock this out, go get lunch. I have a job interview coming up this afternoon. And in the last part of the show, I was talking about, you know, the pipe dreams and, you know, work and stuff like that, and what it is that I need to be doing. And my wife and I have kind of came to the conclusion of, dude, your best bet right now for the foreseeable future is probably just to work a couple bullshit part-time jobs. Like, just so you have some cash to throw at things if you want. And I'm like, yeah, that probably makes sense. So when you come to the understanding that I'm not the breadwinner in my household, that is my wife. Okay? She is the breadwinner. Now, also, when you come to the conclusion and the understanding that also we don't have rent, we don't have a mortgage, we have electric, property tax, internet, and insurance. That's it. And we have to feed people. I mean, so really at the end of the day, we're not like most American families that are buried under $2,000 a month in bills. Like, that's not us. It took a long time to get to that point, but it's really nice to be in that position to know that, okay, we've got property tax, we got insurance. As long as those two things are paid for the year, we will forever have a roof over our heads, okay? It's also really nice to know at the end of the day, the only two things we really got to worry about bill-wise are the internet and the power. That's it. We do not have a water bill. We do not have a garbage bill. We do not have a septic sewer bill. Like, we don't have these things. So really, at the end of the day, we can be a one-income household and get by just fine. We will be okay. The idea of me working and picking up part-time work is mainly for the idea of like, hey, you can, you know, you want to buy a gun, there's your money for a gun. You want to buy a part for your car, there's money to buy a part for your car. It's Christmas time, I need to buy stuff for the kids, or I want to take the wife out to eat, or whatever the case may be. My money doesn't necessarily have to go to paying all the expenses at the house, right? Like, things are more or less covered. But then there's also the idea of like, I like having that cushion of money in the bank in case, you know, the engine goes bad in the truck and I got to put a new one in it. Something major comes up that we need to spend money on that we didn't foresee happening, you know. So it's good to have a cushion in the bank. And if I'm not working at all, I can't maintain a cushion. So that's the other part of that too. Maintaining that cushion. So with that being said, I have an interview today for another part-time position, and hopefully this all goes well. I am branching back into the private security contractor scene. I'm branching back into it. I had recently just picked up one part-time job, which had a really surprising pay. The hourly rate is really, really good. The only issue is you do not get a whole lot of hours, okay? So it's not sustainable. Is it worth your time in leaving the house and going to do it? Yes. But is it enough hours to function and actually make decent money? No, it's not. So we have to go and we have to find another part-time job. And that's what my interview is for this afternoon. And we'll be back right after these messages.
Jester from It's Doomsday Podcast and the Doom Daily Show here. Do you ever find yourself overloaded with way too much information? Too many logins, too many passwords, too many websites for stuff you like? Yeah, I'm the same way. You don't have to worry about that with the Doom Daily Show and It's Doomsday Podcast. Let's make it simple. Just visit linktree.com/JesterDooms. Add it to your bookmarks. That way, when you need to find the right information, it's right there, under a tap of your finger or a click of your mouse. Go to linktree.com/JesterDooms. Get it, got it, done. Remember, no one has all the answers, but this will provide you with a place to start. linktree.com/JesterDooms. And now, on with the conversation. And here's Jester.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Find us everywhere on social media and the website, jestersvoice.com. Okay, so if you haven't figured out yet, we're not covering anything that's really going on in the media or going on in the news on this episode. I'm just trying to piece all these things together of why I've been absent, okay, and why I've been gone, without giving up too much personal detail of my own life. All right, so I wanted in this segment of the show to kind of get into why the job transition is happening and going back into this part-time work and going back to the private security contracting sector, and try to make some sense of this for everybody, because for some people it might be a little bit confusing why I'm making these moves at my age and doing the things that I'm doing. So I'm going to kind of lay it all out there in this segment. So I never, ever had a desire to get into EMS. I never had a desire to ride on an ambulance. This was never a thing. Back in 2021, after, COVID happened and the world was in chaos, a lot of medical classes and EMT classes and things like this became free. There was no required payment for these types of things. So a buddy of mine said, hey, dude, it would be an absolutely great prep to have in our arsenals to go to an EMT course because they're free right now due to COVID. And it was like, okay, sure, bud, if you can find one and we go do it, this, that, the other, and we go and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, in the realm of all this, we got to do some field exercises and got invited out to do some field exercises with like a lot of people within the county. And they had this one operation set up that was a search and rescue operation, and I fell in love with the idea of search and rescue operations. At this point, I said to myself, there was two things. Number one, I feel like I just know enough to be dangerous. I feel like I need real world experience if I'm ever going to be beneficial in an apocalyptic capacity. Okay. So I said, I need to be working somewhere part-time, so for two reasons. One, to further experience, to get the further experience. And then the second thing was, I really wanted to do the search and rescue operations. I really enjoyed those exercises and I want to do more of that. I like that. So long and the short is I found somewhere that did these things and they had a part-time position open, and I took it. After a year of getting the shaft and getting monkeyed around and lied to and bullshitted and just, everything else that had transpired, I kind of came to the conclusion that, maybe this isn't the place that I need to really be focusing my efforts anymore. That's just it. So there's a flip side to this too. This is the flip side. Working in EMS, there's so much expected of you continuing education. It doesn't stop. it is continuous. And if you're somebody that if you don't have any kids, or if you're married and your spouse really understands, like, you have to go do these things and they're not holding it against you, and this can work for your lifestyle. For me, being married to a spouse that's running 2 businesses and having kids, and with these kids getting homeschooled and not disappearing into a school setting for 8 hours a day, it's a lot on my wife to just peace out and be like, hey, you got this, right? Cool, I'll see you later. Here's these businesses to run. Here's these kids to take care of. Here's this house to take care of. Here's these animals to take care of. Don't forget to do the laundry and make sure dinner's there when I get home. Like, you got all this, right? You're good? No, that's not okay. Now, I went back and forth explaining this to my employer numerous times, like, I cannot do the extra that you want me to do because I have a life outside of this place. So you got to do something to help this work for me. I need schedule changes. I need something if you want me to continue to further education. You got to work with me here. And it was bullshit being fed to me. Oh yeah, sure. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll figure something out. Well, they never did. And they never would. And then they held it against me. And it's like, okay, well, with where I'm at, it's like, you know what? It's been fun. It's been great. It really has been. But at the end of the day here, like, my family comes first, and I can't abandon my family for your requirements that you're making up as you go. And that's a lot of what it's been, is the employer making things up as they go. And that's been one of the biggest problematic things whenever I see employee A and B and me being employee C, where A and B are not held to the same standard that I'm being held to. I'm threatened with termination if I don't get this one thing done in a time frame, but yet there's 2 guys over here that have been past this time frame and no one's saying shit to them. So, okay, I see what's going on. There's a target on my back, whatever, and it's been more prevalent lately. So it's like, okay, I need to secure good part-time employment outside of this in a realm that I'm already familiar with, in a place where I've already kind of peaked and there's not much more room for growth and improvement. And that simply is going back to security contracting. That's it. I've got a decent amount of experience in the field. Okay, there's not many more certifications or things that I could acquire that I would need. I have all my licensure and everything that I need now to continue to do the work. I have dual certifications. I'm good to go, right? There's really nothing extra. So this is leading me into going to this interview today and securing a secondary form of employment. Now, the biggest thing with this last job and everything else that has happened, and one of the biggest tolls it's taken on me, is now I've got these 2 extra people in my house. So this is doubling down on the responsibility I'm thrusting upon my wife, which is not okay either. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
Want to advertise on the Doom Daily Show? Send producer Scooter an email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com, and this 15-second ad slot could be yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms, still sitting here in the STI recording with you lovely folks. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Everywhere on social media, @JesterDooms. Okay, so last final segment of the show here. Will you hear the Doom Daily Show again? Well, gee, I sure as hell fucking hope so. Like, I really do. So, we've all heard it said that people like to ruin good things for people. Okay, we all know this. We all know this to be a thing. We've all heard this. The 2 extra people that are currently in my home do not know that I do this. And if they do know about it, they don't know much that goes on about it because it's not widely talked about. Okay, and it's not something that's a secret. It's just not something that I'm sharing. And this kind of goes across the board in my life. Like, I don't share with coworkers that I do podcasting. I don't share with coworkers that I do anything on social media. I don't like to share these things. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, it's because when you start sharing these things with people in your daily life, they end up trying to manipulate you, and they try to mold you, and they try to critique you, and they try to give you their advice, and they try to tell you that maybe you're not doing a good job, or maybe you need to do things this way. This is my show. I'm going to do it my way. I do not want a coworker or family member or anybody's constructive criticism. I don't. You know who I want criticism from? That's Producer Scooter, which you're looking lovely today, by the way, Producer Scooter, in case nobody's told you. That's really the only thing that matters, okay? I want feedback from listeners, not feedback from somebody that knows me enough to feel like it's okay to talk shit, all right? I don't do this for family and friends and coworkers. I do this for myself. I do this for the listeners out there. That's why I do this. This podcast is my best form of therapy I fucking got, okay? And it does not help to muddy the waters and have this in your daily household or in your workplace. This is not good. So anybody out there that is a podcaster or they're in this realm, your best bet if you ever do this shit is fucking just don't tell anybody. Let the show speak for itself. If it's good, you will gain a following. If it's good, people will talk about it and they'll share it and it'll get out there. Okay? Because trust me, begging your 3 coworkers to listen for those 3 extra hits a week is not going to help you. All right? Going out there and telling 5 family members, hey, I'm doing a podcast, those kind of downloads aren't going to do shit for you. And if you're the type of person that wants to do a show where you play the victim, that doesn't work either. Okay? People don't like other people's sob stories and bullshit. No one fucking cares. But my sob stories and bullshit, the reason we do the Doom Daily Show, and the reason this show initiated and got started was after doing the It's Doomsday podcast for so long, I come to find out that listeners like the little tidbits of life and they want to know what's going on. They took an interest in that for some fucking reason. So the Doom Daily Show was meant to be a show that's kind of letting you in on my daily existence, what I have going on around the house, what, we had for dinner, what the plan for tomorrow is, and basically news, world events, and facts, in my opinion, on all of this bullshit. Okay? And am I right all the time? No. Am I very rarely wrong? Yes. So, the idea of continuously doing the show and producing the show and making it happen is definitely kind of on the basis of when I have the time to do it. Now, in the realm of this big break and hiatus I took, we did close the doors at the recording studio. The studio no longer exists. And it was partially because having these 2 extra people come into my home also made it really difficult to just kind of go sneak away to the studio and go sit down and record. Although it would have been extremely beneficial to have to keep the show going, I can't leave the house for 1 hour every day and head down to the studio and leave my wife to juggle these other 2 people. So whenever I figured out and I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, it's the 17th of the month and I haven't been to the studio in 2 months. Why are we paying for this? It's a useless expense that we don't need to be paying for. And I also kind of put some of the blame of why I held on to this for so long on my employer, because I was basically strung along for, about a year saying you're going to have a schedule change. It's going to open up and make your home life better and things like this. So I said, well, I'll hang on to the studio. I'll keep paying on it until, I get the schedule change. Well, once it was clear and apparent that that wasn't happening and I didn't make it there for 2 months, it also kind of put things into perspective of, hey, you don't need this anymore. So the long and the short is the studio is no more. It is gonzo. So now there is no place to just go quietly record. There is no place to escape and have that. So in order to keep up and keep doing the show, I have to be able to figure out a good time management system and juggle things correctly in order to find the quiet time that's kid-free where there's no one around to continuously put out and produce this show. And that is going to be my primary focus moving forward, even if I have to just take a ride in the car and go park in a parking lot somewhere and knock out a 30-minute recording session. That might just be what we do moving forward. Anyway, Guys, that's it. That's it. We're getting out of here. It's the end of the show. If you're not following, follow, like, share, subscribe, share this with your friend, post it on your Facebook page that you're listening to The Doom Daily Show.
News, facts, and opinions. This is The Doom Daily Show.